What if the true power behind world governments isn't human at all? Hidden in the shadows of the Vatican, ancient vampire lore suggests a chilling connection: immortal beings manipulating politics through religion. From blood rituals to secret councils, mythologies from around the world whisper of vampires not just surviving, but thriving in the highest ranks of power. In this video, we dive into the dark legends that claim vampires use the Vatican as a front to influence global affairs. Are these just myths, or is there a terrifying truth hidden behind holy walls? Let's uncover the lore and decide for ourselves. How do vampires control the government through the Vatican? Mythology lore. From ancient folklore to modern conspiracy theories, the figure of the vampire has always captivated human imagination. These beings, often described as immortal, seductive, and power-hungry, are not only the stuff of horror stories, but also symbols of hidden influence. One of the more intriguing and controversial ideas in the world of mythology and secret history is the theory that vampires may have infiltrated or influenced global institutions of power. Among these, the Vatican, a symbol of spiritual authority and political reach, stands at the center of a strange and compelling narrative. Could immortal creatures really be manipulating world governments through religious institutions? Let's journey through mythology, folklore, and symbolic lore to uncover how vampires are believed to control the government, starting from the sacred halls of the Vatican. The vampire archetype: power, secrecy, and immortality. Before diving into the Vatican connection, we must understand what vampires represent in mythology. Vampires are not just blood-sucking monsters. They are metaphors for power, elitism, and immortality. In many cultures, vampires are depicted as aristocrats, hidden away in castles or ancient crypts, feeding on the lifeblood of common people. They are masters of manipulation, charm, and control. These traits, immortality, secrecy, manipulation, closely mirror the characteristics often attributed to hidden elites in conspiracy theories. Vampires, in this context, become symbols of the elite class that rules from the shadows. 2. The Vatican's global influence. The Vatican, home to the Roman Catholic Church, is more than a religious institution. It is a sovereign city-state with immense spiritual, political, and economic influence. With its own intelligence networks, diplomatic corps, and access to powerful world leaders, the Vatican is often seen as a gatekeeper between the sacred and the political. It also houses the Vatican Secret Archives, a vast and mysterious collection of documents that some believe contain forbidden knowledge, everything from suppressed scriptures to records of supernatural events. For centuries, the Vatican has been rumored to hide truths about ancient beings, including angels, demons, and perhaps vampires. 3 ancient myths that connect vampires and religion. In multiple cultures, vampire-like creatures have been tied to religious and spiritual practices. Strigai in Romanian folklore were undead spirits that required religious rites to be put to rest. In Eastern Orthodox Christianity, vampires were sometimes seen as the cursed souls of heretics or excommunicated individuals. In medieval Europe, some believed the devil sent vampires as punishment against corrupt churches or unfaithful clergy. These stories laid the groundwork for associating vampirism not just with evil, but with spiritual corruption, power struggles, and religious manipulation. In Christian lore, blood has deep symbolic importance. The Eucharist, the ritual of drinking the blood of Christ, is sacred. But in vampire mythology, the drinking of blood becomes a perversion of that rite. This connection hints at a dark mirror. What if the sacred rituals were based on something more ancient and more sinister? 4. The vampire church theory. One popular theory in esoteric circles is that an underground group, an ancient vampire order, has long operated within the ranks of the church. The theory suggests that vampires infiltrated religious institutions early on, not to destroy them, but to use their influence to shape morality, law, and society for their own survival. Why would vampires align with the church? Sanctuary and power. Churches are often seen as safe havens, both physically and symbolically. 4. An immortal being. The stability of a long-standing institution offers the perfect cover. Moral influence. By controlling religious doctrine, vampires could shape the moral values of society, instilling fear, obedience, and guilt in the masses. Blood supply. Some extreme theories even claim that religious rituals, hospitals, and orphanages connected to church networks were used as secret blood banks, ritualized or otherwise, for vampire consumption. Secrecy and access. The Church's secret archives and exorcism records may include documents on vampires, allowing them to monitor threats or erase history that could expose their presence. V. The Black Pope and Secret Orders. Within the structure of the Vatican lies a hierarchy shrouded in mystery. Conspiracy theorists often reference the Black Pope, a shadowy figure believed to be the true controller of the Vatican, operating behind the publicly known Pope. This figure is sometimes associated with the Superior General of the Jesuits, a powerful religious leader with global influence. In vampire lore, the concept of a hidden master or ancient elder is common. These beings rarely appear, but are said to control vast networks. If a vampire elder were to exist, hiding behind the title of Black Pope would offer both secrecy and power. The Jesuits, known for their intelligence networks and influence in education and politics, are often central to these theories. According to lore, secret vampire cults may have used Jesuit channels to insert agents into global governments, particularly in times of war and crisis. 6. Blood rituals and the cult of immortality. One of the most consistent themes in vampire mythology is the obsession with blood, not just for sustenance, but as a source of power and memory. The idea that drinking blood grants knowledge, strength, and vitality has parallels in several ancient traditions, from Aztec sacrifice to Gnostic mysticism. Certain fringe theories suggest that within the Vatican's innermost circles, secret rituals involving symbolic or real blood rites are still practiced. These aren't necessarily literal vampire feedings, but acts meant to invoke or connect with ancient forces tied to vampiric power. In these myths, blood becomes a sacrament of immortality, echoing the Eucharist but subverting its meaning. Some even speculate that Holy Communion itself is a sanitized version of older, darker rituals that once involved real blood and possibly real immortals. 7. Government influence through religious networks. The Catholic Church is one of the few institutions with a truly global network, stretching across continents, cultures, and political systems. This makes it a perfect conduit for influence, both spiritual and political. If vampires were embedded within the Vatican, they could use this network to influence education systems through religious schools, shape political narratives by advising Catholic politicians, monitor populations via confessionals and religious orders, manipulate international policies through Vatican diplomats. Moreover, religious leaders often enjoy public trust, allowing them to sway opinions more effectively than politicians. A vampire hidden within these ranks wouldn't need to rule openly. They could simply whisper in the ears of kings, presidents, and CEOs. 8. The suppression of vampire lore. Another layer of this theory revolves around the idea that the Vatican has intentionally suppressed vampire myths. Over the centuries, the Church has declared various folk beliefs heretical or pagan, including stories of vampires, werewolves, and witches. Some believe this suppression was strategic, not to fight superstition, but to erase the historical memory of real vampire encounters. If these beings did exist and once roamed freely, stamping out stories about them would be essential to keeping their presence hidden. From banned books to demonology texts locked away in the Vatican archives, the Church may have been systematically burying any knowledge that points to a vampiric influence. 9. Modern echoes, pop culture, and hidden truths. Modern vampire media, from Dracula to Underworld to the Vatican tapes, often plays with these ideas. Immortal beings in positions of power, hiding behind religion or ancient orders, is a recurring theme. Could these fictional portrayals be inspired by deeper truths? Writers like Bram Stoker were known to study ancient folklore and religious texts. Some suggest Dracula himself is a coded tale about an immortal being manipulating church and state. Films and books may serve as modern myths, soft disclosures of hidden realities. X. What does it all mean? Is this theory literal or symbolic? In many ways, it doesn't matter. Whether vampires are actual immortal beings hiding in the Vatican or simply metaphors for corrupt, eternal elites who use religion for control, the underlying message is the same. Power can be hidden behind robes, rituals, and stained glass windows. Vampires, in myth, are the perfect allegory for eternal institutions that feed off human energy, fear, obedience, labor, and even faith. The Vatican, with its ancient rituals, global influence, and hidden archives, becomes the perfect stage for this mythological drama. A warning or a revelation? So, do vampires really control the government through the Vatican? That depends on how we read the myths. At face value, it's an eerie but fascinating conspiracy, immortal beings manipulating global affairs through the world's most powerful religious institution. But at a deeper level, it's a warning about blind faith, secret elites, and the hidden forces that shape our world. Mythology has always been a tool for truth-telling, even when disguised as fantasy. Whether vampires in the Vatican are literal or symbolic, the story invites us to look deeper into history, power, and the shadows that rule from behind the veil. So, are vampires truly lurking behind the Vatican's sacred veil, pulling the strings of global power? Myth or not, the legends raise unsettling questions about who, or what, really rules the world. From secret rites to whispered alliances, the lore offers a haunting glimpse into a shadowy empire of influence. If you found this dive into dark mythology intriguing, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more hidden histories and forbidden tales. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you believe there's more truth than fiction here? Until next time, stay curious and beware what hides in plain sight.